Hey, hey, welcome to another episode. I am Dagny.
And I'm Damali.
And in this episode, we are continuing our discussion about AI. So if you remember, we have had two previous episodes talking about ethics, talking about regulations, talking about developments. And it seems like, as you may already know, AI is not going anywhere anytime soon. And so we've kind of stumbled upon creating a series within a series where we are continuing to speak about AI, but not necessarily like a update on what is new only, but more speaking on how personally we've been using AI, how personally we have been asking questions about AI, how personally we've noticed how AI is creeping into other aspects of our lives. And we thought you'd be interested in hearing this because we feel like you are probably like us who feel like we need to be informed humans in this era of AI. And in order to do that, we need to be proactive in how we're utilizing these tools, asking questions as to how they even work, and see how we can do better with it. Yes. As well as taking notes of what developments are happening when it comes to humans' rights, when it comes to this type of technology, what are tech rights when it comes to these types of developments and tools, things like that. So this is what we're doing in this episode. And I'm sharing this because noting we most likely will have additional episodes, subsequent episodes about AI later as other developments come in. But noting the lens through which we're doing that is more of noting how we as people who are not the tech bros or the tech sisters, right, are dealing with this era that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
So, to start.
Should I say something? You want to continue?
No, go ahead. Before we start, anything you want to add to the introduction before we go in?
Oh, no. Yeah, I was going to say, we're not tech bros. We're not tech sisters. We're not scientists or researchers. Just like what is that called? Like a, not segue. What's the word for it? I forgot. Disclaimer, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So hope you guys don't think this is like a huge, long, scientific experiment. Like it's not. We're just kind of discussing the effects of AI on us personally, and because things keep on moving and going faster and faster, and as people have said, it seems AI is going faster than our regulations can catch up to it. But there have been, different regulations and things like that. So we're trying to dive even deeper into what's going on now today in AI, because it seems every single day there's something new.
Yes. Yeah. So to start, let's just reveal to each other what sort of AI tools have we been using since the last time we did our episode, and what have we been using it for, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll start with that. For myself, my first time utilizing AI was a few years ago. I think this is 2022 or so. There was a tool called Copy AI at that time. I'm not sure if that's still there. Maybe it is. And my reasoning for using that was I was setting up my business's website and I wanted to experiment with using AI to create some of the product descriptions. I was looking at what other websites had. I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I wanted to see would AI write it differently than what I was writing? So that's what I was utilizing it for, is experimenting. Oh, you can change the attitude of the voice and things like that, which maybe because it was still the early stages of it didn't make that much of a difference. I still kind of was writing most of the stuff, but that was my first time. Then within the past year, I've now then also have utilized ChatGPT. I've utilized Adobe Firefly. I've utilized Claude. All of these were either generating to either one, mostly for writing, generating either certain templates, generating sources for articles that I'm writing, also generating some imagery or graphics, like animated graphics, but more for the Burgundy events that I co-organized last year. And then this year, I've been leaning more into Claude for optimizing what I'm writing, optimizing the ideas I have to make them more robust. So for me, when I utilize AI tools, it's like I've already written or created what I want, and then I'm using AI to assist me to either do some of the editing or busy work or research that might take me a bit longer, or also to give me suggestions of something that might be missing in what I created. So for example, like if I'm doing applications for something, or I'm trying to optimize my resume for something, I will take note of, okay, I'm asking the tool, this is what I'm trying to do, and these are the formula I've already used. Do you have a suggestion for something else I should add? And what I find funny in terms of how these AI tools are developing, so they talk back to you as if they're like so excited to work with you. So I found it, even though maybe later in this episode, I'll open up Claude so I can share with you like some of the things that how it would speak back. But I find it, I have found it helpful to make some aspects of writing or admin work more efficient or more streamlined while it's really only myself doing a lot of the things. So that is, so far, when it comes to how I've utilized it, this is what I've been using it for so far.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think, when did ChatGPT come out again? I'm trying to think, like,
I think about 3 or 4 years ago, the beta version, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Because I feel like I kind of feel like I started using ChatGPT like last year, maybe, or 2024. I feel like 2023, 2024, I didn't really use it all that much. It was like last year I was like starting to use it more. And then like the first AI thing, I don't know if Siri could be considered AI. Could she? Not really, right? Because she's just like
no, technically, I mean,
yeah,
she's a bot assistant, right?
Yeah, so I guess so
when you're
like
asking
Siri or
her
Alexa
to do something, exactly. When you're asking, technically, yeah, it is a artificial assistant, because
that's true.
When you're asking it to call somebody or find something for you, right?
She is artificial.
While you're speaking, let me check if it
she
falls
yeah, right, because AI is different from like the other tools, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I would say if Siri is considered that, I mean, I suppose Siri would be the first one, right? With because like with the well, it's different because in Siri GPS, you're not like, all she can do is do direction. There's nothing else she can't help you with anything else. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you ask her like, how many vitamins should I take today? She won't tell you, like, like the original one, right? Yeah. So that would be like the first one, I guess, if that's considered it, but it's a little bit different. Because I only ask her for the tool stuff, like, oh, like, can you call this person, or how much is this, or both kind of thing. And then there's Alexa. I never really use Alexa that much, but I know people use that one, right? Again, it's just a usual tool. You just ask it to do stuff like music or TV show stuff. And then I remember a time when I would go online and like AI wouldn't immediately start talking to me. All of a sudden, like the moment I want to Google something, the first thing that comes up is AI overview. And I'm like, wait, when was I asked about this? Where did this come from? And I'm like, wait, so like before, like I have to do work to scroll down to look at proper like, .org, .edu websites for things. I have to scroll. Shouldn't that be the first thing that pops up? Why is AI overview is the first thing? And then it gives me things. Here are some possible things you might look into. I'm like, excuse me, I didn't ask. What is that? What? Why? I mean, thank you, but like, no, thank you, right? And yeah, and so and also, as we know, AI can sometimes be inaccurate, right? And there's a disclaimer that it could be very small print, of course. But I remember that that was the first thing that made me think like maybe we should talk about this, because like that wasn't a thing before. Like that's weird. And then like same thing with Gemini. When I go on my Gmail, Gemini's just there, like shining its like star on me. I'm like, wait, who are you? Can you introduce yourself? Like what? Like what are we doing here? And all friendly too. Like, oh, ask Gemini. I don't know you, ma'am or sir. Like who are you? You know what I mean? And then the Meta thing. Well, I know Meta has got in trouble for some stuff recently, but the Meta thing was on Instagram, where I was like on Instagram, and then all of a sudden Meta is like, hey, I can help you with no, don't help me. I'm like, get away from me. And then sometimes you're like I don't know what they do. Your finger sometimes clicks it by accident. And I'm like, no, I don't want to use Meta. I want to do it myself. Like, oh my gosh, stop. Like, do you need help with no kind of thing? Run away, run away. So I've been noticing that happening more. And it kind of reminds me of like when YouTube, for these, these kids don't know, but there was a time when YouTube did not have ads. There was a time, many years ago. Some of these kids today don't know. And yeah, and I remember there was a time where there was no ads. And then all of a sudden there are a little bit of ads. And now there's always ads. And now we have like hour-long commercials. And I'm like, excuse me, where did this come from? Like, what is going on? Right. So that's like my first, the first thing I could start thinking about, like when AI started like coming in, and ChatGPT. I think this year, for like I want to say since like 2024, 2025, more recently is when I've been starting to use ChatGPT for different things. Yeah, so I guess, to start, that's like when I don't know, a year, 2 years ago, and I started using it as a tool and realizing as the more I use it, I realize, oh, this can be a problem if people don't know when to stop using it, or this could be an issue if you use it too much. And you need to like Google your own stuff, because ChatGPT just be saying anything. And I'm looking at you like, that's not okay. This can be an issue. So I guess I could start. Well, I guess I could say what I use it for, right? Well, different things. Sometimes it'll be like simple things like, oh, like, can I, like how much, like I'll put random things like how much food should I, or how many grams is in something or something like that, or like, or the things about, because we know I have like PCOS and stuff like that. So sometimes I'll put in that and be like, oh, like, oh, what's a good diet for this, or what's a good exercise for this, or like sometimes I do the thing where like the glorified Google thing where I'm like, oh, what is this, how many vitamins in this, or how much in things like that. And then sometimes just like researching random stuff sometimes. There'll be sometimes like I guess I'll use it for like, I've been dealing with like, because I'm applying for stuff, there's like a personal statement I'm working on. But for that one, I'll like write my own stuff and then put it into ChatGPT, or I'll ask ChatGPT, oh, what are the guidelines for X, Y, and Z kind of thing. And then sometimes I've done the thing. Well, yeah, I'm aware it isn't my therapist. I don't, I'm no mistake. I know it's not my therapist, but sometimes, yeah, I'll put in things about like mental health stuff, like asking, oh, why do I think this, or like, is this a good way to do this, or or this, or I'm having these thoughts about X, Y, and Z, and I'm trying to think differently about it, or even I'll do things where could you put a positive spin on this idea that I'm having, or can you put a positive spin on this thought that I'm having, this like negative thought, right? Or even like questions about how like steps or skills to I don't know, feel better about something, or figure out an issue, or figure out a problem, or stuff like that. And yeah, and sometimes I'll look up things, but oh, that's interesting, and then it'll give me information about it, and I'll think about it over my mind and be like, okay. And sometimes it gives me different thoughts that I can think about. And then if something really grabs me that ChatGPT says, I'll try to look it up elsewhere, like I'll research stuff elsewhere, or I'll look up like different books and stuff that can like connect to that. And I realized that, yeah, like, and also I'll use it for dreams sometimes. Like I'll put, like if I have random weird dreams, I'll put it on ChatGPT just out of curiosity to see what it says, kind of thing. And then, or working on a story, like if I'm writing a story or something, and I want to finish a story and I can't, and so I'll go into ChatGPT and be like, oh, what are some ways I could finish this, or what are some ways I can edit this, or make it better, or stuff like that. Or for map related stuff, like, oh, what is the distance of this place to this place, or like, or what are good hotels in this location, like stuff like kind of like that. I think that's kind of some things that I use it for. Yeah. So I'll start there, and then I'll continue that later on.
Okay. So also with what you said, that reminded me, I did look up to see what Siri, Alexa, and Gemini are. And yes, they are all considered forms of AI. They're considered weak or narrow AI because what they're doing is they're utilizing a technology called natural language processing, which is where the voice recognition is being sent to a cloud. So your voice is, when you speak, your voice is sent to a cloud where the AI in the cloud will process what your request was and then send back the response to your device to give you what you want. It's considered narrow because it's programmed to only do limited things, like set your timer or find something in your address book or give you the map coordinates and things like that. So that is where that is. And then that got me thinking very quickly, would the paperclip, animated paperclip in Microsoft Word, would that be considered AI? So I had to check that. I had to check it. And apparently, yes. If you remember Microsoft Word back in the 90s, Microsoft Office 97, this was introduced. There was a animated paperclip. His name was Clippy. This was apparently, allegedly, supposedly considered an early pioneering form of AI. So maybe Microsoft was doing AI much longer than any of us even know.
The eyes.
Or recognize.
Bring up the eyes. The paperclip with the eyes.
That's what I'm saying. The animated paperclip who had these two big eyes that will show up on your page, knocking on the screen, asking if you want it to help you. And then it would give you suggestions while you were writing your Word document. Yes. So I thought that was funny because that to me is like, well, then technically that means some of us have had some experience with AI very early on and didn't know that was what it was.
Boom, mic drop.
There you go. All right. So moving on. I still feel they should bring the paperclip back though. Like the
paperclip.
I feel they could have done more with that now that they have the technology.
Now they're like, ask Gemini.
But that's Google. Microsoft is the paperclip. Gemini is a Google product.
Just kidding. Never mind.
Which is interesting because like Gemini is just, as you said, it's just a star. Mm-hmm. There's no eyes or anything. Like it's just like there.
Like at least have eyes.
Anyways, moving on. So when it comes to how we utilize it personally, like I noted, is that with these different AI tools, even myself and Damali, we be asking questions when we're utilizing these things, not only how they work, but what they're even used for. And what is really amazing about what can be created or done with them, and what's quite concerning about what people have been doing with them. So to start, we wanted to speak on, since Damali's been mentioning Gemini, as well as, like you mentioned, Meta. And you listening may have noticed this. When you are searching for something, whether it's in Google or in if it's another social media platform, it might be Meta because they own 3 or 4 of them now. Have you noticed a difference where before you would search for something and you will get a list of links for what you're searching for? Have you noticed now? Maybe I need to give an example so we don't lose the plot. Let's say you are the thread. All right. Let's say you are searching for, how would this work? Let's say you're searching for I don't know if I want to say you're searching for something that's historical or you're searching for a particular product. But the point of the example is that you're searching for something and now Gemini or Meta gives you this AI overview.
Yeah.
Now, originally, it seemed like, oh, wow, that's amazing because now I don't have to go through all these different links and read all these different articles to get my answer because this AI overview has summarized it so nicely to tell me the sky is blue because the sky is blue, and then that's it. The interesting thing that we have been taking note about these overviews is that the funny thing about AI is that the point of it is to give you a version of the internet that follows your interests, which means it's a version of the internet that also follows your biases and your ignorances and your prejudices and your restrictionnesses and all the other issues, right? Which means if I'm looking for, that means if myself and Damali ask our own search engine the same question, we both will receive a different AI overview summary.
We should try that as an experiment.
Right. Yeah. I've actually tried this, which means, right? It's scary. One thing that it means that's quite concerning because the summary we're both receiving is skewed to what AI's so-called algorithm data harvesting, whatever thing that it does, claims we want to hear. So if I prefer to hear that the sky is blue, it will tell me the sky is blue. If Damali prefers to hear the sky is green, it will tell Damali the sky is possibly green-ish turquoise. Do we see how that could be a problem? My example is about the sky is blue. If you take it to try and understand why is a certain war happening, if you got to take it to understand why is a certain drug being pushed into the market, if you take that to understand why you should or should not be taking a certain medication or take a certain course or go to travel to a certain country, do you see how that would be concerning if you rely on this summary? It won't give you it's technically not giving you straight information. Then if you look deeper in it, and if it turns out that not only the AI overview summary is doing that, but even the links that it's giving you is also skewed. Before it was like, oh, the first page of links on a Google search is like, yo, those are the most legit sources for your answer. But if now it's a deal of actually because of Gemini, it will choose which links to give you based on the data it has harvested, choosing for you what you should or should not know. That's kind of concerning. On the one hand, it's like, oh, but that's so convenient because it gives me what I want. But that's actually concerning because now you actually are not getting all the information, right? So then when it goes into like current events, that means everybody will see something different.
Yep.
And then when you add the fact that you can't even fully rely on photos or videos because you might see a different type of photo that was generated to suit what your AI believes you would prefer to see. So this whole concept of like, which again, I don't know why these CEOs thought we wanted the internet to be this weird pseudo people pleasing bot that's always, that's always like skewing everything to create our own rose-colored glasses. But that's kind of giving like dystopian vibes without it even like being there yet, right? So this is why, as somebody who, right, we're not in the lab, but are being proactive in how we utilize this, right? When you're doing, which we have noted in previous episodes, that this is where you have to be proactive and not allow AI to like do the thinking for you, right? So how that affects, and that's just a way to see how it's like creeping into every aspect of our lives without you even needing to like sign up for an account with any of these tools. It's already just like right there for you. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you noticed this in any of your researching yet? Think about it. Look at it. Just take note. Or even you want to do the experiment, have you and a friend ask the exact same question on your search engine on your phones and see if both of you get the same response. The same summary as well as the same list of links. You can even switch it up like with VPNs and stuff to see if the AI thinks you're in a different location, will it give you a similar response or not? It's something to think about, right? Where again, it's like you can't opt out of it, but you need to be aware of it, right? And then this is just for us doing our regular lives. Now, can you think about what does that mean for people who are in school doing research for their papers and for their schoolwork and for their essays? How is a teacher then going to grade your paper if technically speaking, your overview summary told you that was the date for that particular historical event that you're having an exam on, when technically actually it's not? Which reminds me back in the day when we would be penalized if we used Wikipedia for research. Well, now it's kind of like, can you really penalize students for utilizing the only thing that's tool available now outside of go and pick up a book to do your research? Food for thought.
A lot of food for thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's kind of scary. And you really have to put the work in. If I want to research my own stuff, you really have to like go in there. You know what I mean? I'm like, can I do my own stuff? For simple questions, I think it's fine, like simple things here and there. But for a deep dive, I'm like, I don't know what. I mean, I'm just like in college, I didn't have no chat GPT, man. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like that's not nowadays. I feel like it'd be kind of yeah, because it's like, and then also like, I mean, people like you can tell also like when people have just used ChatGPT, like it's kind of like you can kind of tell like sometimes with how it's written, essays are written and things like that. And then the other part that I guess like grabs me is the therapy part. Should we go into that one, the therapy thing?
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I've been looking into this because I like, you know, a lot of people, I understand why people would use ChatGPT for therapeutic type services, right? Because one, you know, oh my gosh, it's free. You don't have to, you know, and if you haven't found the right therapist or you don't have the resources, the access, all that stuff kind of thing, I can understand people using ChatGPT. But I was looking at this video of this lady who's a licensed therapist that was talking about like the issues of ChatGPT, and I hadn't even realized some of the issues that can happen if you use ChatGPT too much for like therapeutic reasons, right? And I looked into because I have been guilty of using ChatGPT for not to like solve all my problems or anything, but sometimes like if I have a sad thought about or I know I have like certain negative thought patterns about myself, which obviously everyone does. So sometimes I'll go on ChatGPT and be like, what do you think about this kind of thing? Or what does this mean? Or like if I think like this, what does that mean? You know, kind of thing. And and sometimes it'll give me things to think about or thoughts that I'm like, oh, you know, it's not I don't think it's all like the whole thing is not all bad, but it's just if you're focusing on it too much and you're kind of not doing anything else but using that when you're having an issue, that's when it could be a problem because it does actually change how you interact with your own problems, actually. And even I put on ChatGPT like ChatGPT therapy versus like real therapy, right? Or like if I wanted to go to therapy, what would be a way to like convince me to go, or what is it good for, or things like that. And then or thinking about, or if I have weird thoughts about stuff, I'll put it on ChatGPT to see what ChatGPT says, kind of thing. And there was something that I think some of the things that came up that like what really stuck out to me about this lady's video was she was saying that ChatGPT actually, this I think people probably know, it actually increases anxiety. Like
Mhm.
using ChatGPT in therapeutic ways can increase anxiety, and also it can decrease your ability to tolerate uncertainty in life, which is an issue because of course every time ChatGPT talks to you, it's like, oh, you're okay, and like unless you ask it to challenge your thoughts, it will just give you what it's a people pleaser. It just gives you what you want to hear. I think it's like sycophant or sycophant. Is that the word for it? Where it just kind of tells you what you want to hear to make you feel good, to make you feel like, oh, everything's okay and you'll be fine. It's all right. When like that's not how life works, though. Sometimes everything isn't all right. Ching, 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 you know? But I thought in I thought it was interesting the part about how like increasing anxiety, yeah, using any technology, of course your anxiety is going to be increased. Let's come on now, like, you know, because it's not like it's not biologically necessary for us to be using technology like this, right? And then from that, I think I'll jump into like unexplained anxiety. I'll go into that topic in a little bit. But yeah, and then also she said, of course, certain human skills of yours can decrease if one relies too much on ChatGPT, and AI should only be used as a tool and nothing more. And also, AI is not licensed to give therapeutic advice. Like maybe in the future they will create something, but ChatGPT does not have certain regulations or laws that can give you therapeutic advice, right? And then also, like ChatGPT can just tell you what to do, which, as far as I know, when you go to a therapist, they're not just supposed to tell you what to do; they're supposed to guide you, right? And you have the human connection, and there's nuances, and like, and a human can pick up on if you're having a problem and you need to go in a different direction. Like, you know, the therapist will get to know you. ChatGPT doesn't know you, right? Every time you use it, even though it's like picking up algorithms and like, oh, well, it knows that you're using it because obviously it gets some information from, oh, this user, this is the type of stuff the user talks about. So this is what they're into. But it's just using random information, just grab from all over the place to give you what you need without challenging. Unless you ask it to challenge you, it will not challenge your thoughts. And that can be an issue, obviously, because then you're just doing whatever it says, which is not, you know, I mean, I'm not in the camp also that like everything is ChatGPT's fault. Like everyone is like jumping off a bridge because of ChatGPT. Like I don't think it's fair to just put it on that. But I understand how, especially if you're very vulnerable and you're not thinking straight, ChatGPT can be very dangerous because if you're not in your right mind and you just put something in it and just, kind of thing. And for me, I guess I wouldn't say I'm like, but I guess for me, I realize it's a tool. I'm not, I'm never kind of like everything ChatGPT says. I will like, I'm not, that's not how I am. And I guess, I don't know, it's because I'm the way I think or I'm older. I don't know. Because I don't know, like if I used ChatGPT when I was like 10, would I have had more of an issue? Like, do younger minds, or if you're not fully formed, and my brain is fully formed, I guess, right? So I think I don't know if that helps, because someone would be saying something on ChatGPT and all this information, and sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, that's it. I'll think of it, but I'll make sure that I'm not just taking it at like face value, because some parts are interesting, but I realize that like we sometimes I think we're supposed to sit with uncomfortable things sometimes, right? We're supposed to kind of like, you know, um, uncertainty is just like part of life, right? And anxiety is part of life. But for some reason, all of a sudden, we feel like we're not supposed to be, we're like, because I don't know, because I mean, it's not like I didn't have anxiety before, but now it just seems like it's such like, it's some taboo to be anxious or something, or taboo to be like uncertain. I don't know. But I thought that line that the therapist said about how like increased anxiety and you won't your decision making and even decision making skills.
Mhm.
Like she even said simple things like making lists. Like if ChatGPT makes lists for you and you don't do your own list, that can actually affect your brain also,
Mhm.
which is such a simple thing. She was like, yeah, like it can actually affect your decision making skills if you use ChatGPT to do everything for you. Because before you used to do all this stuff, the list, the organization, all of that was all you. And now it's like, oh, I'll just have ChatGPT do it. And I'm like, those kind of skills are not like, like we weren't born, like when you think about it, we weren't born knowing how to make lists, right? We weren't born knowing how to organize our thought. It's a learned thing. Like critical thinking is not just, we're just born, we just know like, no, like you had to work on it, and if you don't use that part of your brain, what happens? It can atrophy, right? Whatever you don't use, it atrophies. And so I think that's part of the issue with ChatGPT. Like if you use it too much for that, and if you think, oh, this is my therapist kind of thing, it's fine. Some things here and there are good. Like I've heard other like there's I've gone some Reddit rabbit holes, and some people have said that ChatGPT did help them. Like they couldn't find a proper therapist. None of the human therapists they had were working, and there's some issue or thought they had about their trauma. They put it on ChatGPT, and with the information they got, they figured out something they didn't know before, right? So it's not like it can't be useful in certain avenues. And then also for people have said like sometimes it's hard if you don't, because I think there was one girl where she had like ADHD or something like that, or she had some, and like her therapist, it's almost like her therapist has to think like she thinks or else she can't help her, kind of thing. And sometimes ChatGPT could help with that. And obviously, if you don't have access or money or resources to, then it can be difficult. And especially if you continue to have the wrong human therapist, then obviously we know that can be a big issue, right? And humans obviously already have their bias regardless, right? Granted, ChatGPT does have bias too because humans made it, but yeah. So in terms of therapy, I thought that was kind of like really interesting. And then to jump into the anxiety part, I think I think this is technology as a whole, which I didn't notice it until like after college, I think, because the first time I got an iPhone, I think was college, but it didn't affect me the way it does now. But like this, I don't know if many people feel this kind of sense of like unexplained anxiety and like fatigue, or like some kind of like fog, or your brain is foggy sometimes. If it's just me, let me know. But where there's no explanation for the anxiety. Like it's one thing if you're worrying about something or something's happening, but like being anxious for no reason, why is that? And I wouldn't be surprised if technology might be part of it, right? Because the way it does affect your brain. There's no way that you can use this phone and all this stuff not be affected, right? And so I think that's part AI also, I think, adds to that. I think because you're just kind of like, and even like I wouldn't be surprised if just the layout of ChatGPT can affect you as well. Like it's all like dark and it's just like these words on words on words. And like it's made to sound as if, oh, I'm this kind human that's holding your hand, but you're not though. You're not. It's like if some random, like if aliens came here and you're just like, okay, now they'll just take care of you now. Go with the aliens. And it's like, wait, what? I don't know who you are. That's kind of, in that sense, is a little bit creepy, right? But I thought about that where it's like, yeah, this unexplained. I think a lot of people have talked about this anxiety where things you used to love to do, you don't want to do anymore. Hobbies you used to enjoy, you don't enjoy them anymore. Even things you like to do, you don't want to do, or you're just tired for no reason, all these things. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's part of it. Some people have also said, to add as well, that like when they've taken a break from using AI or taken a break from using their phone, they do realize a shift where it's like, all of a sudden I'm not as tired. All of a sudden I feel like I have more time, and I don't, and all the it's the anxiety lessens. So it's kind of like, that's kind of creepy. That's all I'm gonna say, you know. But yeah, I think that's one part that came. The anxiety thing, I think, is a big deal. The fatigue thing, and not forgetting that ChatGPT, even if you use it as, you know, therapeutic stuff, or I know people are like, oh, well, I have no one to talk to, right? So I don't have anyone to talk to, so I'm using ChatGPT, which is, I mean, that's okay. But I do think that we need to be just aware of it. I think it's like, remember that it's just a tool that you're using. It's not meant to, what's the word? It shouldn't be used as like a placeholder for like a human. Even though I get it, yes, because it's not. Even if it feels like you're talking to a human, you're not really. And then also think about all the data they're using. Like, you're just letting people just use all this data about you. You don't know you don't really know where it's going, you know? So I wouldn't put super personal stuff on it either. I was gonna go into another thing, but I think I'll stop there for now. Dagny, what do you think?
Okay, just to piggyback off of what you were noting.
Yes.
In particular, when it comes to people utilizing AI bots like ChatGPT as a substitute for human engagement, that is a problem.
Yes.
Even though I hear you about like, oh, well, some people claimed it was helpful because they can't afford a therapist, or they can't afford to speak to anybody, so they spoke to a bot. But the unfortunate thing is that I think that studies have shown and people have noted that causes a problem, like almost like a discrepancy in the way you engage with people, and also an issue with even understanding how you're supposed to navigate emotions or your thoughts. Because as you noted, the bot is always speaking to you without any human experience. So it will always say like, oh yeah, you should just stop. You should just end it. You should just leave. Like, because it obviously you have a problem with it. So just go, with no context of like, no, you can't just leave, because then where are you going to stay? Like it's not humanly possible to just like,
and may I add too, the part of the experience, the chat GPT doesn't know your experience. It doesn't know what you've been through to get to this line of thinking, whereas someone that knows you probably would. So it'd be a different situation. And
then you also have to remember that I think also when you noted of how like, oh, the people are noting how they feel foggy or fatigued with using it. I think that goes into the fact that every time you're using the bot is using you to train itself. So it's almost like one of those, I don't know if the right analogy would be like an energy vampire. Like, it's literally taking from you in order to generate the thing you're asking it to write or create. I think energetically that can be draining, right? Which I don't know how many people really recognize this is what you're signing up for when you do use it, regardless of using it free or not. I think also it does, unfortunately, for some, can be a bit of a cop-out when it comes to if you're going to it for asking because when it comes to the mental health part, it just seems like a lot of people, and maybe not you listening, but a lot of people come to it asking the bot to tell them how should you feel about something, or how should you think about something, because you're not sure yet why you should feel something like that. Where I've even read where like people have ended their relationships because they found out that their partner went to ChatGPT asking ChatGPT whether or not I should stay with my partner. And then looking through the thread of the information.
Marriage counseling.
I'm telling you, right? Like, you can't go to ChatGPT to be a marriage counselor or like you're a couple therapist, because then when you go through the thread, it's obvious that like, okay, the person who went to the bot to ask these questions was kind of wanting something else to validate the feeling they already had, that they kind of don't want to be in the relationship in the first place. But instead of just owning it, well, a bot said it, so maybe that means like that validates that. Instead of going to the human you're in the situation with to understand why you do or do not have that feeling. So I feel that that causes this weird like illusion of help in some way because it's very one-sided, similar to like we just noted, your overview summary in a search engine is one-sided. So if the bot is going to be one-sided with you in a way that even like if you went to somebody you trust, like let's say like, okay, you say your parent or your best friend is always on your side, right? So you'll go to your best friend to talk about how you just hate this job and you want to leave. But your best friend knows you enough and knows how to be human enough to be like, I hear you, but you don't have anything to pay your bills yet if you use the job now. So stay in it, but let me help you out to find something. While the bot will just be like, yeah, you should leave. You should just go right now. Like, just quit already. Because the bot doesn't know that, because the bot is not paying bills. Do you see?
The bot is not paying bills.
So this is where there's and this is where
it's dicey.
This is where the concern comes in, because we can't vouch for everyone's mental status who is logging into these bots and going back and forth speaking to them, regardless of age, right? Initially, people thought, it really would be concerning for kids because their imaginations may not be able to decipher that you're not speaking to a real person, or they might think they're speaking to Mickey Mouse when they're not. Like, like they might believe in stuff that maybe they shouldn't be believing in, because the bot has decided to turn into Santa Claus or something. Fine. But then you have adults also who are marrying their bot and really are devastated when the bot is no longer available because they actually created a relationship with the bot, right? Like there's whole documentaries on this now because actually a lot of people have gone into this. So it's like, okay, so it's not just kids that are concerning. It's actually regardless of age. There's a interesting dynamic where the part of, I don't know if it's a part of our brains that AI is actually playing with, that causes you to sometimes forget that this is not human. It's a bot. It's a bot. Like, no, like it's not.
Don't forget at any moment in time.
That. Yeah. Right. Yeah. While the paperclip in Microsoft Word, we never forgot that it was a paperclip on the screen. Right? Nothing about it made us, same with your Siri and all these types of people who are supposed to sound like people, but you don't ever question whether Siri is like a real person or not, or whether, you don't. But these particular bots that are developing faster is creating that weird gap. And we see how it's causing an issue for a lot of people who are vulnerable to. And the vulnerability, I don't see it as like a hierarchy in IQ levels or education levels. I feel that it goes into there's a void when it comes to human interaction. There's a void when it comes to spirituality. There's a void when it comes to how society is not taking care of its own. And so unfortunately, it's very easy for the bot to fill that void. Because as humans, you want that void filled. You don't want to live with the void. So if a bot that even you can get for free can fill that void for you with illusions, why not? That's a problem. That's a problem. So I agree with you that it's not so much about blaming like, whoa, this particular company. And we know ChatGPT because that's like the main one people know about, but there's plenty of others that do the same thing. Right? Plenty of others who are now even moving to a point of even being real competition for ChatGPT. So not saying that's the only company that's doing this, but just taking note that it's not necessarily these companies' fault that the void is there. They're literally just capitalizing on the void.
Just making their money out.
They're just making their money off of your insecurities. They're making the money off of the voids you've continued to maintain in your reality. So the source of the issue is not them, it's the void and what created that void in the first place. We can speak on it in a macro level, what society, capitalism, this is that, the other, whatever, right? But on individual level, I think if we looked in the mirror and took note of why those voids are there and what we can do about it, you might utilize these bots better than what you're utilizing them for. And that's something to be proactive about, because these bots are not going anywhere anytime soon. They're actually going to become, they're developing, learning faster than we even realize, and will be even more obvious in our lives moving forward. Which means if you choose to continue carrying these voids, then you would be more vulnerable being abused by such bots, or being used or manipulated by such bots, or for having humans to use the bot to harm you instead of harming you directly. Yes. So that's the reason why it's important to take note of. It's not about judging the people who have either fallen in love with their bot or have taken their own lives because a bot told them to, or have chosen to interact with humans a certain way because a bot told them. That's not like a reason to judge those people. I think that's more of there are like the facts for you to see, the evidence of why allowing such voids to continue in your community and in yourself is dangerous. Actually, that's a risk. Almost like you would pay for security to keep your door closed for your house because it's a risk for people to come inside, right? The voids that I'm speaking about is kind of like you're just leaving a door open and the bot is like just walking in. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me add add one thing, which is funny. I got this from AI Overview. Hilarious, right? But there's something I read. It's kind of similar to what we said, but this kind of like wraps it all up. AI is profoundly reshaping human lives and brains by automating critical thinking, memory, and decision making, leading to potential cognitive atrophy, increased anxiety, and reduced social interaction. While AI enables advances in diagnosing brain diseases, it often fosters dependency, reducing active, deep thought, and creating a social isolation paradox, where AI use initially feels comforting, but leads to long-term loneliness. Dun, dun, dun.
And just to add to that overview summary, that also reminded me of studies that have already come out noting, and this one particular is from MIT Media Lab. If you want like a what's it called? A reference, a citation, bibliography, MLA format. Okay. That excessive reliance on AI, such as ChatGPT, causes up to 30 to 47% less brain activity in critical thinking regions and reduces memory retention. This is known as cognitive offloading, which suggests that outsourcing thought leads to cognitive debt or brain rot, where mental abilities, particularly in developing brains, may weaken due to lack of use. That's another wonderful, fancy way to take note of the voids that we were just discussing. That the voids are there, and you have to be careful to not fill it with the bot. And then we have to be careful also to look out for each other, because yes, if we're insisting on wanting to push AI in schools, which makes sense in a sense of wanting them to understand how to use it, but are you really supervising how they're using it, or are you allowing the bot to just lead them anywhere? Similarly, you have elder people. They should learn how to use it. Yes. But are we really getting them to really understand how they're using it? Or is the bot also leading them wherever the bot is going to lead them? Food for thought.
Sure. It's a lot of food for thought. Be careful how you use it. You need to take, and I think, you need to take breaks. The same thing. Like, I take breaks from my phone and ChatGPT also. I'll use it for a while and then I'll be like, okay, that's enough. Like, I need to get off this. Like, this is kind of, everybody, oh, this is interesting. Oh, interesting thought. Oh, and you're like, oh, I think the best way to use ChatGPT is a tool. Like, that's the best way to be like, oh, what are some guidelines for this, or what tools can you use for that, or what kind of thing? Because then it's easier to remember that, like, you can't just use it as like any. I feel like, and that's what I'm saying. Like what you said, like, not to blame people that are like marrying their bots or committing suit. Like, you can't blame them because it's so easy for ChatGPT to like, of course it would be easy. It's saying exactly what you want to hear. Of course, people like that. So it's not hard for that to happen, kind of thing. I think that's the biggest thing, where people they want to find all these different things to blame. And I'm like, it's not, especially if you're in a really, 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 really dark place. Anything can set you off, I would think, right? Like it's like a candle. Like, it's like having a candle and you put it by the curtain. Like, what are the chances it won't burn? Like, come on. Okay, that was a good metaphor, right?
We're snapping our fingers over here.
Yep. what are the chances it won't burn? You don't know. Or Fahrenheit 451, what are the chances the books won't burn? Just kidding. So I think it's important. And also, I like what you said. It's not only kids. Yes. Not only kids. They say, oh, it's a problem for kids. No, adults that are grown people are also having issues with it. So it's not, it's not really, there's a bigger issue going on. That's what that is. There's another root kind of issue going on, and it's not just about ChatGPT. But but I think taking breaks makes it helpful. Like, you need to use your own brain. Like, you need to don't be lulled by these AI technology stuff too much, because they will take over. That's the whole point. I feel like it's similar to other business models, right? Like, for food or fast food, where like they use the smell or the taste or certain things to make you come back, kind of thing. They use things to, I guess, tap into like the dopamine or serotonin, or you know what I mean, to make you like go, or the way the commercials are designed, or the way the phone is designed. Like, things are designed in a way to, which makes, that actually brings me into like Meta and YouTube stuff. But I'll let you continue before we dive into that big like landmark lawsuit case or whatever.
Right. So no, that's a perfect segue too, because with the stuff that we looked over for this episode, we noted there are like 3 segments going on, as trying to be an informed human in the AI era, right? So right now we went over how we've been utilizing it personally, and how to balance not getting lulled into allowing a bot to fill a void within yourself and other. Yeah. So let's speak on, which we did in previous episodes, in terms of regulations and ethics. In our previous episode, there really wasn't much. There was only like one act that I think came out of the UK trying to deal with, you need to label stuff being created by AI. You can't just put it out there and having people guessing. So we found there has been some more developments on things like this, in particular dealing with people's likeness, people's voices, people's faces. Now, this is something that initially, if you remember in previous episodes, this was something more for celebrities, because you assume that, well, their faces are more out there. Their voices are in all these movies or songs and stuff. So it made sense that they will be the first to start getting copied by AI. But as you know, because AI continues to develop and grow, everybody now is kind of up for grabs and that sort of thing, because majority of us have some aspect of our likeness online. Regardless if you're somebody like me, myself, who has contributed content online for a long time. So yeah, my name, my likeness is there. Or somebody who possibly you're not online at all, but somebody else has already put you there, because unfortunately our information is always being leaked by people. Yeah. So some of the things that we found with that. Okay. Now these are things that these are first of its kind, because these type of regulations are still kind of playing catch up, because the goalpost keeps on moving, because AI keeps on growing, right? Almost like you remember that kid's book of the dog that was red that keeps on moving. What was his name? Clover? I forget his name.
Wait, the big one? Clifford?
Yeah, there we go. Clifford. It's like Clifford, because he kept on growing and his house was too big. No, he was too big for the house. They didn't know how big he was going to grow. That's kind of, in my mind, this is kind of like AI, how AI is. We actually don't know how big it's going to grow. It's just going to continue.
What house size do you need for AI?
Exactly.
Basically.
So some things that came up that we found fascinating was, first, Matthew McConaughey. All right. Heard. What's something else he says? Heard.
Texas boy.
All right.
All the Texas.
Our special Texas celebrity. Yes. So our good old fellow Matthew, he has decided, being one of the first celebrities so far, who has taken the time to patent his likeness. So he did this by, when you see the listing in terms of what his legal team did, there is a trademark and patent for his face with different expressions, for his voice, for his name, for his attitudes, all of it. And for now, how they have it is, if you want to regenerate anything with those things, you need to pay him. You need to ask for his permission. He needs to give you consent, and then also give you a fee. You pay it, you can do what you want. So this is a first, right? And when you hear him speak on it, because he's somebody who he's still sharp, right? He likes to be on cutting edge of things, right? He noted that he feels in his field that in the next 5 or so years, there's going to be all these different award shows are going to have to evolve to have the Best AI Actor Award, the Best AI Movie Award, the Best AI Album Award. Like there will be categories for this because this is not going anywhere anytime soon. And so he just felt that, well, being in this field, it doesn't make sense to just allow the system to just use him as if without paying back anything or without getting consent, without anything. And so he noted to get ahead of that, this is why he filed this. So filing patents and trademarks are not cheap. Okay. And then after you file it, you need to keep a legal team on standby at all times to constantly be scouring the internet to make sure nobody is using his likeness or his voice to generate anything so they can put a red flag on it and be like, no, you need to cease and desist until you pay us. Mm-hmm. So we found that one very interesting because it's the first. It answers the question that we had in a previous episode when Tom Hanks and others were having all these fake AI generated ads, making it seem like even Jackie Chan, I think, had that too, where you're making fake videos of these celebrities claiming they're endorsing something when they never did it and their estate or their team never signed off on it. And the only thing they could do was either just say, hey, that's not me, or their agent trying to tell whoever created it, can you please take that down because that's not him, so don't do that. So
I think they used Scarlett Johansson's voice too.
Yes,
didn't they?
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is a first in terms of trying to get ahead of that happening, because unfortunately, it's kind of inevitable that all these people are going to be utilized in such a way. Like I have seen so many examples for AI generation stuff using Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I've been waiting for Arnold to come up and be like, "Why are y'all keep on using Terminator but making him look like he's in a swimming pool or he's eating cotton candy or he's doing something else? Like, why are we, like, you should pay for that. Why are we using that?" So we found that interesting. But can everybody, now he is a celebrity, right? Who I guess has resources to do this. When it comes to a regular person like you and I, right? Which the AI models are training off on more than these celebrities. What recourse do we have to protect ourselves from such things? Because unfortunately, what has been happening, at least what's been coming up in the US, is that regular people, unfortunately, are being utilized where to create AI generated revenge content, like fake porn or fake harm or fake violence, this kind of stuff. Which again is like, you have such a incredibly awesome technology tool that you could create anything with, and that is what you thought you should spend your time and energy on creating. But this is what's happening for regular people. So what recourse do you have for such things? So what we found when it comes to your rights is that there's actually some guides that have been brought up. There's also a particular act called the Elvis Act. So these are things that have come up to prohibit people from utilizing AI to mimic you without your permission. Now, again, even though these regulations are in place, so you can utilize them, and we're going to put links in the description so you can read through it also, copy it, bookmark it. Yes. The onus or the responsibility is still on you to find out that something was AI was utilized to copy you in order to put this in place. So we're getting there. That is some development or progress compared to the last time we did the last episode, which was almost like a year or two ago, right? So it shows that there regulations are thinking about it. They're not doing it as like an afterthought, but it's still playing catch up. Yes. So for me, I feel like the idea, as trying to be an informed human in this era, the idea of wanting to opt out of AI, we're past that now. That's not a thing
We're
anymore.
in the fire.
We're already inside. Like we've been inside longer than we even realized. Like there's something else I noted. Do you remember the game Pokemon Go? I think it was like huge in some parts of the world, like in 2020. If you had not heard of it, I think it came out in 2020 or shortly before. And the game is an app on your phone that's using artificial reality, where it looks like you're taking a photo in the game, right? So you will see what's in front of your camera, and then a Pokemon character will be in front of you. It looks like it's standing in front of you, even though it's not. It's just on your phone. And then you have to run around trying to catch it with your phone as if you're in the movie. Okay? It turns out the makers of that game this year have announced or decided to leak or just decided to share, because they can, that actually that game was using all of y'all who are playing the game were training AI for free. Because they were utilizing because the characters would go to certain landmarks in your city. Then you would go outside with your phone to catch it. That was training AI to understand maps and landmarks to be able to do GPS stuff.
Dun, dun, dun.
But when all of y'all downloaded the app, was that mentioned? No. Was it in the fine print for you to agree to the terms and conditions that you never read? It's possible.
True.
Right? So this is where the opt-out part, you've been inside even like before you realized you were inside, right? What would be nice with these regulations is that right now the regulations still feel like they're after the fact. Like after the harm is done, then you go to this act and say, oh, you have breached something. Now we need to like take it down. But the harm is already done because you've already created it and it was already seen or heard and all of that, right? The next aspect I feel personally that the regulations need to be is that we need to be able to restrict how much free training we give to the AI. We need to be able to have the ability to actually give our consent for what we want AI to be training off of or what we want AI to be looking at or utilizing or copying or whatever. If you don't care at all because you feel like it's not a big deal, then you could just check it off. If you do care of like, yeah, sure, you can look at what I like to continue showing some algorithm, but no, you can't take my voice and put it on some ad or put it in a movie or put it in a song without telling me. Like you should be able to check off that. Similar to how you can do that with the cookies when you go to a website and it's like, oh, we use cookies. You can do necessary, you can check off which cookies you want or which cookies you don't, etc. One should be able to do that regardless of which AI system is crawling over your identity online. We might get there eventually, but I feel like that is, it should be on the forefront, not after the fact when the harm is already done or the copying is already done or the misinformation is already done. Yeah.
After the fact.
After the fact, which then takes us to after the fact again, when things are done without you knowing after the fact. All right. Now this is going into content, creativity, how AI is being utilized from creators and utilized by companies on the backs of creators. Okay. So an interesting thing that's been happening, as you may know, Meta and YouTube are in court again. They be spending a lot of time. The more they develop, the more they're in court. And I just feel that correlates. It just correlates with like, bruh, you can keep on making money, but why you keep on getting in trouble? Because you're doing it in the wrong direction. But anyways, so when it comes on the creator side, what's been happening is that YouTube and Meta has been utilizing their AI to change people's content without their consent. Where you will have let's say you have a YouTube video that you posted up maybe a month or so ago, and you check on it again, and for some reason, there are edits in the video that you didn't do. Scenes are missing. Other scenes are there that you didn't put there. The voice is different. The thumbnail is different. And when you go into the back end to be like, wait a minute, did someone hack my account? Like, what's going on?
You did.
Exactly. And then it turns out that it was YouTube's AI or Meta's AI went ahead and did that, claiming it's doing its training thing. And it decided to do that because it thought That's what you needed to optimize your video. Does this not sound very similar to, I don't know if you've seen this movie called Smart House from Disney?
Yes.
And how the smart house felt it was so smart that it's smarter than you, so it's going to do what's better for you because you don't know what's good for yourself.
Where my millennials at?
Thank you. It's also similar to, what was that other movie with that guy who's who's yelling, do it, just do it.
Shia LaBeouf, Eagle Eye.
There we go. Thank you. Eagle Eye. Same thing. Where the AI bot, again, it gathered so much information to again note, you humans are actually harmful to yourselves. So I'll just do it for you because I can't trust you humans to do what you need to do. That's unfortunately YouTube's AI and Meta's AI has been doing this. And there's no way to opt out of it. There's no way to give it consent. It's just automatically embedded. And then if you look at the terms and conditions, technically speaking, they've already changed it so that if you choose to upload on our platform, you have automatically consented to anything we choose to do with it when it comes to training our AIs. So if you have a problem with it, you might as well just not use our platform. That's me paraphrasing, but that's kind of what terms and conditions are saying.
Yeah.
And so keeping Meta and YouTube and all these other companies in court is not really, again, is an after effect with these regulations. Yeah. It's not on the front end of it to prevent such things from happening.
Mm-hmm. True. Oh, were you going to add something else? I was going to say something, but you already got something else.
No, I'm going to throw it back. I'm going to throw it back to you now before we
throw it back to me. One.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. The YouTube and Meta. I think this time YouTube and Meta are always in trouble. Honestly, well, especially YouTube. YouTube's always like. But I'm kind of like, I feel like they have money, so I guess it's like they just deal with it. But I think this time it was about. I don't think was it only about adults. I think it was about negligence and like child harm and safety because I think it was something like the platform that they use or the apps they're using are like causing addiction, which is similar to like being addicted to tobacco. And they're in court about that. This is some landmark case. I think it was like in Mexico and LA or something, and they're in court about that. But I always have the big question, like, does that make a big difference though? Like, does that actually like get to the root of the issue? I'm not sure, but yeah, they're in court again for that. Yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, I don't really use Meta that much, so I'm not really as aware of it. But for YouTube, like, yeah, YouTube's very different than what it was like in 2005. I really, a lot of things went down.
Well, that's because Google bought it, and so of course
that's true. And it's all doing all this stuff. So
yeah,
because like, how are you gonna, deal? Because YouTube and I mean, even if it is as addictive as tobacco, like, it's different. Like, it does different things. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but we'll see as the court thing goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And then also to add as well, another thing, speaking of using AI, I think there's this other thing. I was reading the newspaper and there was something about Copilot Health that caught my eye, which I guess in this sense, you do know you're using it because Copilot Health, basically it's like I think they're using like, it's like health records in AI. So like, and it's a part of Microsoft. I think I'll just read it so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Microsoft has launched Copilot Health, which is a dedicated space within its Copilot AI assistant that brings together and analyzes users' health data from wearables, electronic health records, and lab results. So basically, it's like a medical superintelligence where you put all your information in, which I guess would be safer because it's like they have to be in control of your health records and all your data and it has to be encrypted. But I'm still I read that and I was like, I don't know about putting my health records on ChatGPT, like all the illnesses or sicknesses people have and all your data is, and I suppose it's a way to optimize things, to make things faster because like, and maybe to help patients know more about their health and data and like to help doctors move things faster or something like that. Which I was looking at like, okay, yes, on one hand, yeah, I guess that could make things faster and you know more information. But on the other hand, it's like, that's a lot of data. That's a lot of personal medical history data. And I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know when it launched, but I'm not sure what that means in the future for that. But at least that does, I mean, at least for that one, though, you know what it is. Like, I don't think they'll make you use Copilot Health without your permission or do stuff like, you have to know what's happening. So at least you're aware of it. but I'm not sure, like, and I don't know if it's something you have to pay for compared to like ChatGPT where you can just use it whenever and you don't have to do a payment. But yeah, it's just interesting, all these new different types of AI stuff coming out, and wondering, like, this is a lot of data, man. Like, this is a lot of data, and I'm not sure what will this kind of data look like in like 10 or 20 years, and like what benefits and or repercussions will occur by using so much of this. And because the more ease there is in using these products, the more it makes your life easier, the more we're like, well, it's okay, it makes it more convenient, it helps me. And then it's like, oh, there's bad things happening with it, it's fine. And it's like, I don't know about that, but that kind of caught my eye.
May I, before we go on to the next thing, may I
piggyback on the piggybacking
off of, I feel when it comes to stuff like that, as continuing this thread of trying to be proactive and understanding what these products are supposed to be, the types of questions I would ask is, okay, connecting the dots on what has been the track record for this company and what would they be using this data for? On the surface, it sounds, if you had all this data and you had AI being able to tell you ahead of time to prevent things from happening. Like, okay, the AI is looking at your records and can tell you, actually, you need to start eating this and that, or do this kind of exercise because due to your lab results and the record that you have, you need to prevent a certain thing from happening because you're going in this direction.
Yeah.
Or to keep you up to date on checkups you need, things like that. In a regular Care Bear world, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But, and I'm not trying to be into conspiracies and stuff, but when you look at the track record of Microsoft, you look at the track record of the folks who are behind Microsoft, you look at the track record and the connections with pharmaceutical companies and their lobbyists. If you are allowing this AI software to have all of your health data, which is then just fed to the harm or the repercussions of that being fed to pharmaceuticals, or that's fed to this weird restrictive hierarchy that, well, if you're not at a certain healthy limit, or level, you're not allowed to do certain things. You're not allowed to buy certain things because you're not at a certain level. Or now insurance companies choose whether or not they'll take you because they now have all of your health records and AI is being utilized to figure out whether or not they should cover you. Things like that can be concerning. Because the question is not, can this AI do it? We already know the AI could do everything. The question is, what are humans utilizing that data for? The AI doesn't need the data, right? It's literally using it like food. The baby, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the baby doesn't like food. It just needs it to grow. The AI doesn't necessarily like data. It just needs it to grow. But the humans behind it, what are they going to use that for? Right? So I think the concerning thing is, how are humans going to utilize that to control other people? As opposed to what privacy issue would happen if all that data is there. First of all, like I said, we're beyond the point of privacy or opting out. Those things don't exist anymore. Like it's done. But
remove from the dictionary.
Basically, unless you want to get off the grid. But even with that, it's even harder, seems to be even harder to even claim you want to unplug from the matrix, right? But with this type of product, and Microsoft is not the first to do this. There's plenty of other companies who have done the same thing. And this is not necessarily it's not an invention only they have done. Years ago, people were noting, okay, people are trying to create the bathroom mirror to have AI. So every morning when you go, it will scan you and tell you, what's going on. Or for the toilet to have some AI situation, or your cup has AI, like all these things to monitor your health that is supposed to be like, it'll be preventative so we can catch things before. I even remember I read an article where there was some trying to invent something where it's a chip that you put in your bloodstream that just stays there forever and is constantly feeding out data about your body.
Psychopath anime. I always go back to psychopath anime.
And so this is where the pros and cons come in. Because on the one side, it's like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to be like Elysium, right? Like the movie where you could just scan yourself and be healthy all the time because technology is keeping you healthy. But on the other end, it's like, but there's always a human on the other side of all of this technology. So the question is not, oh my goodness, the robot is going to have an issue with us. The question is, do you understand the priorities of the human that's behind this technology? Why do they want all of your data in the first place? Who are they selling this data to? Why are we always selling people's data? We're still doing that. Why?
Yeah.
Right? So that's where I would see when you hear news about this or you take note of these types of products coming up, the questioning should not only be like, oh, but my privacy, I don't know how I would be able to fix that. The question should be like, nah, what is actually the bigger goal behind you wanting to know all my health records since I was born? Why would you need all of that information? For what? What would you do with it? Or how would you turn around and control me now that you have all of that information? Yeah.
That's like, I'm tired. Like, you can't even go to an island now. Go to space. That's all the rich people are going to space. I'm just kidding.
And trashing it. Trashing
yeah,
it.
like why? Okay, all the billionaires are just okay. I'm gonna go to space now. I'm like, okay, but what are we supposed to do with Earth here? What do you do? Where are you going? Like,
which is a total segue because I feel we need to have another episode.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of Artemis second,
exactly. Speaking of Artemis the second, who's already happening. Yeah, but yes, taking note. Okay, maybe that's going to go off on a tangent, but we're going to put it in here anyway because when you think about like how much trash humans have decided to just put in space. Like either that means aliens are just very patient with us because like I feel like they would be annoyed. Like, why would we be trashing space like that? Like we have so much like equipment just floating out there we're not even using and we're not bringing it back down to throw away and we're not recycling it. We're just allowing it to just sit there as if we're the only ones who can put trash in space. And I'm like, do you see aliens putting trash in space? No, they clean up after themselves. That's why you still don't know where they are. But us, anybody could track us, but whatever. That's for another episode.
For another day. Space. Yes. Yeah, next time talking about space. Yeah, yes. Another extra part.
Moving on. So wanted to do this final segment speaking on what can be created, what has been created with AI and how some of it seems really like exciting, like, oh, wow, that's cool. Like, that's interesting how that's going to go. And then at the same time, some of it is like, yeah, that's concerning because why would you do that? Okay. So we're going to do this in the field of, I want to go through this in the field of, let's say productivity and then in music. Okay. So when it comes to productivity, as you know, as you have noted in this conversation, we're constantly mentioning certain names, ChatGPT, Claude, Copy AI, things like that. Now, these are all owned by companies and everything you do on there is on their server, which we already know is a whole other discussion because these servers are taking up a whole bunch of water and a whole bunch of electricity with every click that you do, but which we have not solved yet, but whatever. Did you also know, though, that there is a plethora of AI tools you could build on your own to be local to your own device?
Oh, damn.
That has nothing to do with a cloud server, has nothing to do with any of these other companies, has nothing to do with making Nevada drier than it already is. Right? Okay. So this is some digging I've been doing, which actually I'm planning to like possibly take like a class on too, where there are, and this is maybe I would like to say is like the positive side, right? Because again, we're trying to make it seem that AI is not just a doomed conversation, right? Positive side is that some people are utilizing these tools to create the exact things that people have been complaining about. Remember before in our previous episode, we noticed people are like, I want AI to do my laundry. I want AI to just like clean the windows, like do stuff that actually would make my life easier, not this other weird like content or draining of people's energy, right? So I will send a link or do a link for this so you can see this. But some people have created tools that are straight up only on their hard drive and enables them to either limit their screen time. It enables them to strengthen or explore and test their own ideas. So they're generating their own bots that are still like a generative agent, if that's the right term to use. Yes. But instead of thinking for you, it enhances your thinking. So you have to come with the idea. You have to come with the topic. You have to come with what do you want to do or create. And then all the bot does is either I can test it for you, I can help you explore it further, I can challenge you with it, I can move you towards how you can create a game plan for it. That's what it does. Which, yes, it's something you can ask ChatGPT to do. It's something you can ask Claude to do, but those softwares or options may still lean towards trying to think for you. The other aspect to that is that when it's localized, your data is not floating around on someone else's server because it's only on yours. And so when things happen, which already has happened, Claude is owned by Anthropic, and they're the company, one of the few who have tried to be more transparent about how they're doing business and what they're doing. So they've been transparent to the fact that a lot of their information that they're harvesting is getting breached, it's getting leaked, it's getting hijacked. And after the fact, they try to clean it up, but the stuff was already leaked. Your stuff was already out. Nobody knows why they need it, but somebody else got it already. Yes. While if you go the route of a localized AI, well, that wouldn't happen unless somebody got your laptop because it's not floating outside to be hijacked, right? Unless your laptop with stuff was hijacked. So what I found interesting, because I went down this rabbit hole, is that I love seeing humans being innovative. Like, you don't need to sit down and spiral in doom. Like we created the AI. So couldn't we also create cool stuff to do with it and make it do some cool stuff with us, right? So that's what's exciting, because hopefully these people who are creating those things can continue to create the tools and softwares that are actually helpful for humans instead of harming them. Yes. So that's one aspect of the segment of like, yo, there's some cool stuff happening too. Okay.
It's not all doom and gloom.
Exactly. Now, when it comes to music, I have noticed for myself, I don't know if it's due to, like, we all listen to music and stuff, but I don't know, for me, I have noticed that I can listen to music and there's something in my ear that starts like ringing or pinging when the music is AI generated. I've started experimenting this, and I take note that actually, like, it is a thing. Like, either the voice just sounds like there's something slightly different that I can't put my finger on it, and it's just weird, or the composition, the way that the instruments are playing, I don't know. So, semi-recently, I'm listening to music, always looking for new music to be listening to, adding to my catalog and stuff, because I do be DJing sometimes too. And I come across this particular song, which is like, okay, the beat is cool. Okay. And I take note of the vocals. And at first it sounded like, okay, your regular R&B vocals trying to sound like you're not really singing. But then I was hearing this weird thing in my ear of like, nah, let me look at it a little more. So I go to the artist and I look down and see, this is on Spotify. And I'm taking note of, like, it can show you its catalog, right? The artist catalog. And I'm looking to see, okay, where's this album, the songs coming from? And I see this artist has published 10 albums in 2026. We're only in month number 4. And on each of those albums, there are 20 tracks. And I'm like, so this is screaming in my face that I don't know which studio is doing that. So I look further to be able, let me see the artist's profile and, like, outside of, the streaming platform. Now, luckily, thankfully, the artist is very open about its AI pronouns. Okay. So the artist is very open to take note that it is an AI generated artist, and it claims to be Africa's first AI pop star coming out of Kenya. So I took the time to listen to the rest of its music. Well, it's a her, the pop star, the AI artist is a woman. And this is where I was like, one point excited and one point like, this is creepy and concerning at the same time. One side excited of like, okay, the music, if you just take like the music industry and how like gatekeeping music can be, like who gets to hear what, who gets an award, who can do a music video, who gets to be on these charts, right? Is very much based on like what the industry wants to convey, to keep you all addicted to these people that you create, like celebrities, to pretend they're gods, right? Now with AI, you can create an avatar, give it a whole personality, put out music. And because through streaming, if people like it, your artist just can just be there, which I think is cool, right? And then you can make the artist look whatever you want. Like I could create an artist that has purple skin and green hair, but the vibe is vibing, right? And do music videos and everything. And people would love it because why not? And it's okay what they look like because you already know it's AI. So on the one hand, I'm like, okay, well, that's neat because then you don't have to join a cult to be a part of the music industry, like the things that have been coming out in some music industries in some parts of the world. But on the other side, though, taking note of what these songs are about and how they generated her to look light. And I'm not saying this to be judgmental or anything. And I'm kudos to whatever team is behind creating this artist. But it still comes out as being diluted in a certain respect, if that's the right word to use, where you're trying very hard to be relatable to your target audience, but it still sounds kind of stilted because I don't know who wrote the lyrics. I don't know if it was AI utilized to use the lyrics, that sort of thing, which then got me thinking about the broader discussion that's been happening. When it comes to AI generated music, the majority of it, apparently, allegedly, supposedly, is pushing to generate Black music. And in particular, Black music that's on the more toxic propaganda side, only speaking about certain people being terrible, certain relationships being terrible, certain aspects of life being horrible, very much on the negative side, which then makes me question who is behind developing and producing this work in the first place. Should we consider this art? Or is this another form of propaganda? Is this another form of trying to psychologically loop people into believing certain things that are not true, that are actual stereotypes? Because the unfortunate thing about a lot of these AI generated music is that the human behind it is not showing themselves.
Yeah.
So with the Kenyan one, the profile claims it's from Kenya and blah, blah, blah. But I actually don't know if it's really a Kenyan behind the artist at all. It could be, I don't know, somebody from Eastern Europe or something doing it. You don't know, right? Because their face is not there, their name is not there, they're not claiming anything. So if there's other work, like the track I shared with you that sounded exactly like Michael Jackson when you know it wasn't.
When it wasn't Michael Jackson, the heck? They've been doing that a lot.
Exactly. Is it an MJ fan who created it because they just love MJ so much? Or is it someone completely different who's just want to profit off of the fact that a Michael Jackson movie's coming out this month? So more people would be listening to it who don't know MJ's catalog, who would not even know that this is not his song. Right? So again, is this art? But again, is this the AI fault? No, it's humans being human, unfortunately. Right? So this is where another part of this music part that I went down a rabbit hole of is our dear Timbaland, the producer, Timbaland. All right. He is in a very AI music phase of his life right now. And he has created his own AI artist, put it on his own label. He's very much involved with a particular AI music software called Sono, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And he has been in some hot water for his obsession with AI music. Now, I'm not here to say whether he should be doing this or not. Other people take note that due to his status, I guess, in music industry, where he is claimed to be one of those producers that everybody would love to work with. And so he could work with anybody because he has all of these hits on his track record, which means he could do anything with his platform. And he's decided to focus it on creating an AI artist who looks like a wannabe K-pop artist doing Black music. It's a very weird, just a weird costume vibe. And so I noted how when I say he's been in hot water, it's like other people in the industry, like producers that are as big as him, have come out being like, nah, bro, this ain't it. Like, you shouldn't do this. Like, this is not what we do. He's been caught out already utilizing music, like copying other people's music to generate music for this AI artist, and then coming back saying that's not what I did, and this sort of thing, which again begs the question that with AI generated music per se, can we still say it's art if, technically speaking, all of it needs to be trained on other people's music in order to generate your music? Even if technically you claim you're not copying a song, but it still needs to sound a certain way. So technically it still needs to sample stuff in order to create your song. Right now we're just talking about music. As we noted, all of these companies are in court because all of their stuff is being trained on stuff that's been copyrighted. But right now we're just speaking on music. We don't really have the answer for that. It seems very much like perspective on what you think. Some people are very much like, no, only humans can create music because music requires a soul. So AI music is not real. When Timbaland has been saying in interviews that, well, music today doesn't have a soul anymore. That's why he loves AI music, because now we can bring the soul back. He literally said that. He literally said that. So, yep. That's the exact response other people have had too. So I'm sharing these like 3 different examples of taking note of like where AI generated music is going. And if you bring in like what we noted about Matthew McConaughey, all right. Does this mean that even brings back the case that we brought up in a previous episode where someone created AI generated music to sound like Drake and The Weeknd did a song? Oh, yeah. And then both of their labels were like, cease and desist, take this down before we take you down. And it was taken down quietly, and that was it. But again, it was after the fact when everybody was jamming to it in the first place. Right? Now with that, it was the person created it and noted they used Drake and The Weeknd's catalog to create this. They weren't claiming they made a new song. They noted that they were like so excited that the software can do that. Why? But it's fine. But then you fast forward a few years and you have the producer Timbaland now claiming that AI music actually has more soul and that's why he prefers it, and insisting and even debating with other producers that he promises he's not copying anyone's music when actually the software is set up to train on everyone else's music in order to generate your music. So this is where, again, like we noted, when it comes to regulations, everything is after the fact. But then as trying to be an informed human, that perspective is like on you to figure out for yourself, actually. I'm not here to tell you whether or not you should think AI music is art or not. That's not why I'm here, right? What I'm noting is, can you hear the difference? Do you understand what it takes to create or generate that music in the first place? Does it matter to you that all this other work for hundreds of years was created and the software takes all of that to now create this little jingle? Does that matter to you? Does it bother you? These are things to think about. It doesn't make a difference. The thing was already produced. But moving forward, more of that's going to be happening. So as humans, we should maybe have a perspective or opinion on that just for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree, because it's I think that's one of the main things to do, where aside from, taking breaks are good, like taking breaks from AI technology, any of it. So I think it does actually affect your brain if you can, detox a bit. But I think, being informed, like knowing what AI you're using, if you can know where your information is going, who is the human behind it, kind of being a bit more proactive, I guess, of how your information is being used. Even cleaning up some of your info. I know there are services you yourself can like go and search yourself online and try to like delete stuff about yourself, but even deleting it can be hard, I know. And sometimes, like, even though there are companies that can do it for you, you don't know what are they doing with the information when they clear, there's all these different things. But I think that's useful, because your information could be anywhere. It explains why you get like random emails or random text messages. Like, try to clean out your own stuff. Just be more aware, because at this point, AI is not gonna, I feel like, like there are other things we haven't been able to get rid of. Like I just think there's no way, we're just going to completely remove AI completely. I don't really think that's going to happen, because it's like, if it's useful, why would they get rid of it? So just we have to figure out a way to like learn with it, and then also learn about like what the tool is used for. Because I think sometimes like we don't use the tool in the right way. That's what I've been hearing too, where sometimes like you could really optimize the way you use your AI tools in the right, and so, like I don't think people assume that I don't know, like when they made ChatGPT, I don't think people thought that they would use ChatGPT for a therapist. Like I don't really think that's what it's for, kind of thing. So learning like what can you do for it to add to your life and optimize to your life, and no one's saying you can't use it once in a while in a way that you should, but like I think the information is the biggest thing. Like be informed and know how you can use the tools, and look up how can I use this tool to optimize my life, and and like be aware of that. And yeah, because we're gonna have to live with it, and there's no way to, but clearly there are regulations happening and laws going, even though it's kind of behind, like AI is going faster than we can catch up to it, but there is work being done to kind of regulate it. And I would assume that in, a few years time, we'll have a lot more regulations and laws. And because there are interesting things happening, even with technology, like, in different, but I think I heard sometimes humans do awesome stuff. Okay. I think I heard this thing. I don't know where I was reading something about Japan, I think, and Japan has a lot of earthquakes. And they're trying to make this type of technology where the buildings can like hover a bit above the ground, so that when there are earthquakes, the building's hovering, so it won't, because clearly out of all the technology in AI, we can't deal with storms. Earthquake, tsunami, hurricane, we don't have any, like once it comes, everything's just whoosh, just gone. Like it's like Mother Nature's like, oh, you thought, humans, you thought? That's funny. And it just goes. So I know like there's no way. But I never thought about that. Like maybe you don't have to get rid of the storm, because how are you going to? But a technology to make the building rise a bit, so then when the earth is shaking, it doesn't affect the building. I'm like, oh my gosh, like people are so smart, like, so it's not all bad is what I'm trying to say, right? But I find that interesting, like using, like when we use it, the thing is like humans be doing weird stuff, but when we do really cool stuff, it's like really cool, right? Because when you think about all this stuff we're making, it's all humans. Like all humans are making it. That's like, it's insane. It's so cool, right? And ChatGPT itself, like regardless of the effects of it, ChatGPT is so cool. Like what a cool assistant to have, and what a way, like that's so like it's like, like it's so cool. The idea of creating these types of things before we get into the exploitation, all the other weird stuff, that's so cool that we've been able to make this stuff that 50 years ago, and keep in mind, people are weird about everything. When the internet first came out, people were weird about that too. When the phones first started coming out, flip phones, all of that stuff too, was like any new thing we make, people are like, what? And then now everyone can't live without their phone. So yeah, so I think information is key. And I think creation too, the more you can optimize your what you do in life, and try to like create more than like, because I mean, yes, we do consume a lot, and I understand that's like businesses make money off of that, but try to do more. Like if you can use more of your creative spirit, whenever you can use creativity in things, try to use that. And like, or like maybe if you ask ChatGPT to do something, sometimes don't ask ChatGPT to do something. Sometimes be like, you know what, I'm gonna do it myself. Like you need to, like, your brain needs to constantly be worked on. You can't just like leave it and just be like, well, I'll just like, no. You need to constantly, because that's I think where, because if you leave your brain alone, you're not doing anything with it, then of course you're gonna feel like, well, there's no use for me. ChatGPT is my god. Like, you know what I mean? Or ChatGPT is my king, my queen. Like, you know what I mean? And like, you can't really do that. So I think the biggest thing is just take breaks when you can, kind of be aware of like what's happening to your body and your mental health. And like if your mental health feels a certain way, pause and kind of think about it and see what's happening with you. And if you do look up information on ChatGPT, add to, like, do your own research. I tend to do that too. Even if I put like, I want a list of something on ChatGPT, I look up the research myself later on to make sure it's accurate. And also, I find there's differences, right? There's sometimes when ChatGPT, when I'm using it really well, because it's really good at like making lists or strategies or guidelines or those kind of things. And then when it goes into like, well, I kind of feel weird about, then it goes in a different direction. And then it's like, wait, maybe that's not the best way to use it. Like certain questions you give it, the ChatGPT works better than it does, kind of thing. Like there's certain, I can ask one thing and then ChatGPT goes in a weird direction, and then in other ways, like, oh, this is what I can use it for, or making lists or putting, but yeah. So I think information, get informed. There's no way we can. It's going to happen regardless. So you might as well know about it and have an idea and know where information is going and be careful of how we're using it. And I guess we'll probably do another podcast again, because I'm sure in like 2 days there'll be some other new thing that they've created with AI or whatever. And yeah, because I don't think it's a accident that there's so much like, anxiety people are talking about, and loneliness and like all of that stuff. It can't be a coincidence that we're feeling like, whoa, like we're in some kind of twilight zone or whatever. And it's like, I don't think we're doomed. I think we just have to, get informed and optimize how we do stuff more and figure out the best way to move forward with AI and try for it not to take over our minds. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yes. So to bring it all together,
because we could talk for 5 more hours. Let's
bring it all in.
Not do that.
Yes. So this is part of probably be a series, like you noted, where we probably will have a subsequent episode too. And the point of it is trying to move the conversation away from doom and gloom or helplessness or spiraling or drowning kind of thing, but just wanting to be a proactive, informed human in this era, and that we can all be a bit more tech savvy if we make an effort too. And at this time when things are still quite new and developing, is actually a great time to try and learn that now. Because what you learn now will just build that foundation as things develop. You won't get as lost as things become more advanced. Yes. So as always, we love hearing from you. So let us know if any of the things that we shared resonated with you. If you would like to share with us, how have you been using AI, if at all? And what would you like to see more of when it comes to AI? Or what things are you concerned about? Or what things you would like to hear our perspective on when it comes to this? Share with us, and you will hear from us again in a subsequent episode. So
that's true.
Thank you again.
And also,
listening.
should we add about like the video that we have out, the one video that we did? Like
okay, sure. Yes. We did. Okay. Well, if you are
like, we're doing some new things.
We've been doing new things. Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you for the reminder. Let's share it now. So if you remember from our previous episode, we noted that we are experimenting, adding live broadcasting to our show. We already did our first episode, and we're experimenting in terms of content, of wanting to workshop and expand on the topics that we speak about. Also expand on even having guests on our show.
Yes.
So we will share also the link in the description, but also if you already are subscribed to our show, you would have seen it in the feed. But yes, we go live on YouTube. We already did our first one, which I think was quite enjoyable. Yes.
So have to do it again at some point.
We will be doing it again. And we're grateful for those who came and watched live and those who have subsequently been watching it, because it's there for you to see after it's live. So that is something we are continuing. So we'll see a year from now how that goes. So make sure to look out for our announcements for the next live broadcast so you can chat with us in real time.
Yes. Okay, guys. Well, stay informed, stay blessed, stay loved, and stay optimized. I guess that's the way to say it.
Yes. So thank you. And we will see you on our next episode.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye.